Education is not about just going to school and getting a degree. It is about widening your knowledge and absorbing the truth of life. For every aspiring Christite preparing themselves to face the world, we present to you DAKSH 2023. Members of the audience, respected faculty member, and our distinguished guests of today, very good morning to one and all present here. Christ University is pleased to bring to you all the brand new edition of DAKSH, the annual flagship event of the Student Council of the University. I am Ritika Narayanan and I shall be your MC for today. DAKSH, the annual education and career guidance fair hosted by the Student Council of Christ, is a one-stop destination to all things education. At Christ, at DAKSH, you witness exclusive opportunities and imperative student guidance, acquire varied knowledge, and make informed choices regarding their education and career. The Student Council of Center of Sports, Christ deemed to be university, is privileged to announce the topic, scope, and other aspects of sports and his life journey. A talk specially organized for all the aspiring sportsperson of the university and the country that it holds. If you need an example of how perseverance and hard work can bring laurels, recipient of the Arjuna Award, Mr. Sharath Gayakwad is the perfect candidate. Born in our very own Bangalore, Sir has started his competitive swimming career in 2008. Injuries could or might stop any other athlete, but for Mr. Sharath, nothing could stop him. Mentioned in the list of Forbes 30 under 30 Asia 2017 edition, he broke sprinter PT Usha's record for the most number of medals by an Indian at a multidiscipline event. He achieved this in the 2014 Asia Para Games by winning 6 medals. He is the first Indian swimmer to qualify for the Paralympics and competed in the 2012 Summer Paralympics in London. Without further ado, I welcome Mr. Sharath Gayakwad on the stage.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Student Council and Christ University for calling me here today. A very interesting topic, something that we have just generally done in discussions and not in a speech way. Thank you for the introduction. And the first and foremost thing, like I said, like ma'am said, it's education is really important. And I think we have all seen the memes where there is a tree and we have a horse, a monkey, we have a fish, a dog being asked to climb the tree, right? For a lot of part, it's true, and for some part, I don't believe in that. There's always two sides of everything, and I believe basically studying all the subjects will always be helpful in the future because you have an option to choose what you want in the later part of your career. If something's not working out, you can definitely jump to other one, but if you don't have got that foundation in education, I don't think you would have been able to have a option. Okay, so I'll start off career in sports. Career in sports, instantly everybody thinks it's either being an athlete or a coach, and that is also quite true because that is, you can say, the top of the food chain, and that's the ultimate thing. But we talk about sports ecosystem, and everything comes under it. Of course, the athlete, not even the coach, is at the center, because everything in sports is about the athlete. Doesn't matter what sport you are in, whether let's say if it's cricket or swimming, everything is about the athlete. Uh, you know, uh, so and the next is of course coaching, but we are here to talk about all the other things that I believe are also career in sports, and the most important thing is that that I learned from my coaches. There is no small job or there is no big job in sports. Uh, you know, um, he he used to learn about every single aspect of swimming. It's not just coaching. He wanted to know about the complete system, how swimming runs. So that's where I got this kind of mentality that it's not just about being a swimmer or a coach. A career in sports is a very huge field. So it's not going to be in order, but I'm just going to go one by one. So when you talk about sports ecosystem, like I said, everything comes under it. So nutrition is a big aspect. Um, you know, Before dieting used to be very simple. You need to be lean and you need to eat healthy. There was no nutrition part of it. It was just about being eating healthy and you need to be lean. But ever since nutrition has been added into the sportsman's career, there's been a lot of changes, and it's all about being nutritious. It doesn't matter how tall or short you are or what your appearance is. So nutrition has played a very huge role, and I personally, I can say, first half of my career, I had absolutely zero knowledge about nutrition. But when we started to adapt these things, get meet a nutritionist and get a lot of insights. That's when things changed. And being a sports nutritionist is also a very tough job, like the others, because you don't look at one sport. I'm a swimmer. I'm a coach now. It's all about swimming for me. But as a nutritionist, they need to look at all the other sports, what goes into a swimmer's life, how much nutrition they need for their training or competition, whether a tennis player needs, what does a tennis player need? Because every sport is different. They involve a lot of different techniques, not only techniques, but fitness regime and everything. So hours of training, everything differs. So nutrition plays a huge part. And of course, we have physiotherapists and psychologists as well. So physiotherapy, again, like I said, just like nutrition is, every sport is different. They need to look at every single aspect of your training and train specifically for that. Um, Before, fitness trainers and physiotherapists used to go hand in hand, and now they have started to work together. Before it was like, okay, you can lift 5 kilos, you can start looking at lifting 10 kilos next. But there was never about what specific muscles you want to train and everything. So physiotherapists and fitness trainers came in together and started working out, which changed a lot in the sport. And psychologist, of course, mental fitness, mental training is really important. And right now, what we see a lot in sports, what's happening with wrestling federation with our wrestlers is something very unfortunate. And I think if they would have got the right kind of training um, in the initial part of their career, I think they would have come out a long back, and we wouldn't have had so much of a delay. And it's still a you can say like a cliche that mental health is not talked about, after seeing so many examples, whether it's sports or any other field. One more small example. I don't know if people followed, but there was this Olympic gymnast, Simone Manil. She, withdrew from her events in the middle of the Olympics, and as a sports person, uh, uh, all you dream about is being in the Olympics and winning a medal for your country. And she dropped out in the middle because she couldn't handle the pressure, and she was made a mockery out of it, that situation, and she was called unpatriotic and whatnot. But of course, we have always dreamt about it, but that's the only thing that we always train towards. That's our whole life. And if you're dropping out of the competition, that means the person is in some serious mental issues. So it was being made fun of, but people should understand that every person is different. Yeah. So, like I said, every person is different, and mental training definitely helps in a person's thinking way. If you have any doubts uh, about anything, it's always better to visit a psychologist and take some good help, because in my experience, especially um, psychologists are never negative. They always try to be positive and try to bring in a different way of thinking. Maybe showing you some examples and things. I would like to say, one more example from my life is that when I met Rahul Dravid, he shared a lot of things, and as a coach, I always tell my kids what to do, and uh, even my thinking changed a bit when I met him, because if I would have met somebody else who was going through some kind of issue, I would have given my life example, and I would have told this worked for me, you should try it. But Rahul sir never said, you should try this. This worked for me. He was giving examples, and he said, maybe you should explore options, and you can try out something. So, people around you can also help you a lot. So, psychologist is an important part of sports career, and okay, so we have a lot of NGOs. Most of it you would have heard about Olympic Gold Quest, Gold Quest Foundation. We have JSW. These are all non-profit organizations who are working towards the betterment of an athlete and the sport in the country. And I always thought that these NGOs are just providing the funding and helping the athletes pay the bill for their training, and basically raise funds. It was all about money. But when I was being supported by Ghost Plus Foundation, they allotted me an athlete manager. That's when I learned that yeah, this can also be a career option. And yeah, I think one of the most important points I left out in the beginning of the speech, having a career in sports, like I said, doesn't mean you have to be an athlete or a coach. It's about loving sport. It can be any sport, and trying to make the sport better is being having a career in sports. And there are a lot of options, and like I said, athlete manager is also one of the things. And you can be completely involved in the life of the athlete. His or her day in and day out what they do, and you are helping them manage their time, manage all these activities. Fixing their appointment with the nutritionist, whether it's with the physiotherapist, etc. And they have a complete team of. One is athlete manager, one is communications head, they have PR, everything is there. So, getting into an NGO itself can do a huge role for a career, and it's a big part of an athlete as well. And I learned a lot personally from this. And of course, we have all the leagues, IPL, ISL, we have the badminton leagues, kabaddi leagues, and a lot of things goes into this. One is the athlete manager, like I mentioned before. One is being the event manager. One is, we have everybody follows football, right? So we have equipment manager. We have a lot of things, and it's a full-time proper career for these guys. Many of them have been there for 20, 30 years, especially in football and sports like motorsports and everything. So yeah. Like I said, you just need to love something. If you love cricket, you can try to get actively involved in IPL, and it's not just about entertainment. IPL, all these leagues have gotten a huge amount of new opportunities, new career options for a lot of people. And one is, of course, data and technology. And I would like to just, before I continue, I would like to tell there's a YouTube video about our, I don't know, I forgot the title of the video, but it was, are humans getting faster or is technology getting better? And he compared over 100 years of running and swimming, a lot of sports, and it was an eye opener for me, and made me realize why data is so important. And how many of you watch football? So we have all these stats, right, in Premier Leagues, and of course, in IPL, they say batting first wins so much percentage of matches, or whatever. Have you guys watched the movie Moneyball? Yeah, so it's a Major League Baseball, and they say exactly where you hit. If you hit at this, at this pitch, and at this angle, and a lot of things. You're gonna score runs, or you're gonna win games. A lot of things, and a lot of people don't believe in it, but like I said, it's a whole package. Everything counts, and data also helps a lot. So all these data has helped teams to think differently. So if you are into technology, if you are into coding, and so getting data is a huge career, a huge game changer in sports. And we have R&D, of course. In swimming, we have racing suits, and I can say like each of the suits costs about 40 to 50,000 rupees, and it lasts only about 5-6 races. So it's a very expensive thing. But all these huge companies put in a lot of effort, a lot of money into research and development, how to make the racing suits faster. How to make the training better. We have all these training accessories which we use every day in our training sessions. So how to make it better, how to make it more comfortable for the athlete, and how to make them stronger, of course, in the same way. And like I said, technique is a huge important role in swimming. And again, the data, like what I angle you should hit, what angle you should kick, what angle you should keep your body in. Everything is, a lot of money is being poured into it, and in return, that makes the sport very expensive. Equipment's very expensive, and it's a never-ending process. They just don't stop at okay, we have done this, we can take a break. Let's not pour in more money into it. Every year they come up with a better equipment for training or racing. When you look at badminton or tennis, they look at the lightest of clothing material, and which can dry up very quickly. So just a small example into this, and strategy is also one of the things, and you know, um, especially in team games, it helps a lot. Um, what is the strong point of the athlete, what is the weak point, they can work on, and basically, I think you can see this a lot in F1, strategies. There's someone who's been leading the way for more than 20 seconds, but a small mistake in strategy can put them back 4 or 5 places. So strategy making is a very important role, and like I said, every sport is different. I can't speak specifically. I can, but uh, it's about you, what you want to do, what you like to do, whether it's getting into coaching or, like I said, nutrition and a lot of things. So you can decide what you want to do, and it's always good to try everything, and decide that okay, I'm good at this, I like this, and I'm happy doing this, and you can decide. And I was always telling, it's good to have a very deep vision about yourself, because it's not about what's happening right now. It's about you doing something for the rest of your life. So it's always good to think and plan that if you do this, can you sustain this for a long time? Can you keep enjoying doing this even when you're old enough? And can you retire doing this? What are the consequences that you have to go through? The sacrifices that you have to do. My parents still don't believe that I can do only coaching. They believe I can do some government job and do coaching in my free time. So it's a challenge with parents as well. But they don't disapprove of me coaching right now. But they still believe that like. In sports, it's if you win medals, you're a good coach. If you don't win medals, you're a bad coach. So that's always playing in their mind. Like if I don't keep winning, if my students don't keep winning a medal, they think I'm gonna be taken out of my job or whatever. That's the thing. So it's always good to think and keep your options open, and you know. I always believe that you need to love something, and if you love something, it will make you work hard. Uh, so I believe that I'm a very lazy person, and I keep telling that swimming has surprised me a lot, whether it was when in my swimming days or coaching. I always loved sports, but swimming made me go that extra mile, made me cross my limits. So. Um, Yeah, so whatever you love, you can get into that later on. And strategy, yeah. So we have maintenance as well. And, people think it can be a low-end job, but maintaining a sports facility is a huge task. And I'm not talking about housekeeping, but to there are a lot of stadiums, you can say Commonwealth Games. We have got the state-of-the-art stadiums. We have spent millions of rupees, crores of rupees, and we have got the stadiums built. But they take special care to maintain every badminton court or a tennis court and a swimming pool. It takes a huge responsibility to maintain those things. So um, it goes special care. Every field is different. So even maintaining is very important. So I've gained knowledge about how to maintain a swimming pool. Everything that goes in and out. Not just coaching, not just the water maintenance. Um, so I mean, I've educated myself like where each and every pipe goes, how the water gets filtered and everything. So it's not an easy task. You know, a small thing goes wrong where um, you'll have to redo a lot of things, which takes in a lot of manpower and hours as well. So maintenance is one of the things that can also be a career. And coming to federations, so you can get into the federation and like I've not a very different job than what I mentioned for the NGOs. But federation, getting into federation has a different kind of responsibility where you have to do the entries, do the planning for the federation. Let's say a federation has a budget. You need to plan how to utilize those funds, and you need to not only manage the athletes or sports, you need to manage the federation members as well, whether it's president, everyone. So a lot of my friends have been into the federations, and some federations certainly they love working for because they do things differently, and federations are, of course, the responsible bodies for the athlete, for organizing the meet or sending the team outside. So everything has to go through federation. So it's a good responsibility and a very nice learning experience. And of course, we have the government bodies, the Sports Authority of India. We have the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, where you can actively get involved. Uh, and the role is pretty much the same, but different organizations have different way of working, and the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports has to approve everything, right? The final file goes to the ministry, and they have a meeting and they approve. So it can be a long process, which can also get in a lot of options in your career. And do you have any law students here? No. Okay. So yeah. So we have sports law and policy making, which is a huge task, uh, which involves great deal of concentration and understanding the sports person. One of the small examples I would like to give is we see a lot of doping, athletes being caught in doping and everything. So, we have the education tools now, but still either we ignore the education and we're careless, or there's so much adultery happening in the food today in all over the world that we get into all these troubles very often. And sports law and policy making can change this a lot, and a lot of them have got their ban reversed because they have been found not guilty and innocent, and thanks to the sports laws that we have been able to get this done. And policy making. I think everybody knows that BCCI alone is worth around 50,000 crores. and our union sports law budget is around 3,500 crores. So cricket alone is worth 50,000 crores, and all other sports in the country is about 3,500 crores per year. And you know, s- sometimes it's not even being utilized. Recently I found out that all the federations in the country have been suspended because they haven't followed some, they've been given the excuse of COVID and everything to, not hold elections and, somehow do some, pushing work and try to, manage something. So they've been asked to, um, hold elections or change a lot of things in the working. We have seen this with Football Federation or the Wrestling Federation now and all. And so, yeah. So this is something a very challenging thing, and sports law and policy making definitely can help us a lot. There are a lot of people now, and it has. Okay. So yeah, we have a lot of things happening, and a lot of changes can be made through these things. So I would like to conclude my speech with this, and finally, just I would like to say is that follow your passion and do what you love. I know we are here for to see hear about careers in sports, but it doesn't matter what field you get into. And very last couple of examples. One is it's never too late. It's never too late, and I've seen a 65-year-old woman learning swimming, and she was competing when she was 90 years old. She learned swimming when she was 65, and she competed when she's 90 years old. If you Google World Masters, will get a lot of results where you can see 90-year-olds, 100-year-olds, achieving these feats. So it's never too late to do anything. If you have something in mind, definitely go for it. And it's all about managing your time and spending sufficient time with everything. And everybody has heard about something is better than nothing, right? Yeah, that, like I said, two sides of everything, and something is good for nothing is, I believe, holds good for the end result, but not the effort that you put in. I believe if you just say, okay, I'm doing something, I don't think you should be doing it at all because the end result, I can say, let's say 30 people in a class, somebody has to come first, somebody has to come 30th, right? So it's inevitable. But it should not go that, okay, like, I don't think I can come first, I'm going to put less effort. I don't think that should ever be the thing. So, in your efforts, always put 100%. It should never be something is better than nothing. And the end result shouldn't matter. And, I personally have won a lot of races, but I've not been happy because I knew that I did some mistake and I could have gone much faster. And in a sport like swimming, it's about timing. You have a qualifying time to get into the Olympics or Paralympics. It's not about how many medals you have, how many national records you hold. So I believe always put your 100% and yeah, do what you love. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for the eye-opening session. I'm sure we all have immense takeaways and infinite learnings from today. The audience, please note that we are now opening the stage for questions for our esteemed speaker. If you have a question, we request you to raise your hand and our volunteers will bring a mic over to you.
Hello. Good morning, sir.
Yeah.
In your several years in the sports field, what kept you motivated throughout the journey, and who and what were your inspirations?
Okay. Yeah. In the beginning, I just loved swimming. I wanted to be in water all the time, and before that, I was a lot into football and cricket. So once I started swimming, I had a different level of confidence that if I can do this, I can do anything, and I used to enjoy it a lot. So and of course, everybody around me was, very positive, and they encouraged me a lot. And at that point of time, we didn't know anything about competitions for para sports, differently able people. And that's after 2 years I got to know that we have state, national, international, even on the Paralympics. So we wanted to give it a try, and that's how we started. And 2003, my coach John Christopher, so he started coaching me, and first of all, he didn't know anything about how to train a differently able person, and we did a lot of experiments to see what's working, what's not working, and since then my journey started, and he has been the most influential person in my life. Of course, my parents, friends, everyone have been supportive, but it was not just about him training me to be a successful swimmer, but him training me to be a better person and understand a lot of things, why it's done, how it's done, and we became very close friends, and he never took no for an answer. I got into an injury and I wanted to stop. It was very painful. I couldn't train, so he said no, and then we went to a physiotherapist, and we got a lot of things sorted. I couldn't get rid of the pain completely, but we trained a lot we changed a lot in the training part. And yeah, so till the day I stopped, it was him all along pushing me for almost, I think, 6 years. I think the first time I wanted to stop, call it quits was around 2009, and till 2015 he was the reason, kind of a reason to keep pushing me along. Of course, I used to love swimming, but training was very painful with the injury. So that was the aspect I was not ready to go through. So that is there, and of course my idol is Ian Thorpe, and I go by his motto that losing is not coming second; it is getting on over water, knowing you could have done better. So that is exactly when I realized, giving 100% is the most important thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Good morning, sir. So, in a country like India, a career in sports is considered like unconventional, right? So, did you have any difficulty convincing your parents to pursue a career in sports?
Yeah. So, yeah, that's always been there, like I mentioned also, even today we're not ready to, agree that this is my full-time job. And, it's always tough with the parents. And, somewhere we still have the mentality that, you have to get a degree, you have to do this, and then you go, get into not just any job, government job, and then comes, okay, then we're fine with MNCs and all these things. But yeah, see, as parents, they always think about your security and future, right? So that's always been there. Convincing them, yeah, it's a long process, and they never, like I said, they never said no for anything, but they wanted me to get a good degree and get a proper job as well. Um, yeah, probably I can say since I was doing very well in swimming, achieving a lot, and somewhere I can say even the government stepping up their game helped a lot because we started to get a lot of scholarships and cash prize money after winning medals and all. So this helped a lot in changing my parents' mentality. But I don't think that's gonna be the case with everyone. Um, but I think it is definitely changing a lot. It is definitely changing a lot. With more support from the government coming in forward, I think this is gonna change in the future as well. Yeah.
Yeah, a very good morning to you, sir.
Come on.
So, as we see, every sports person has a phase of injury in their life, and so did you. So, how did you overcome those months in your life?
Yeah, so I was completely losing hope because there were times where I couldn't even lift my arm up because of the pain, and it was getting too tough to do even normal activities. And yeah, we went through a physiotherapist and everything, but I had to take off for a long time. Like I said, each and every field had a very different thinking about 10 years back to than it is right now. So back then, if you have an injury, it meant complete rest. You have to do nothing, just go physiotherapy, and all. But in one of the gatherings like this, you had I think wheelchair basketball event happening, and the guy said, "Yeah, I don't have legs, but I do have my hands. Um, so I need to have my upper body fit enough to do what I want." And we said, "Okay, yeah, no, that I break my hand, but I do have another hand, and I need to train that, make that stronger, so that I can, it can support me when I want to come back." So I got into thinking, yeah, I've gotten into a shoulder injury, but my legs are fine. So my back is fine. So I started training, getting fit, and um, I don't know if everybody follows Formula One, but I believe you people would have watched at least the movie Rush. Chris Hemsworth. Okay, fine. So in that you can see a famous driver, Niki Lauda. He was completely burnt, but he wasn't ready to let go, and he came back, within three, I think 4, 5 weeks. With his burnt face, he was still racing, which was still very painful. Um, because he was trying to get fit and he kept his fitness up. And one more very recent 2 years back, in a MotoGP race, Mark Marquez, he broke his humerus bone. And a week later, he's coming back and he's doing 20 push-ups. They have to go through a fitness test where they have to be deemed to be fit to do race. And he broke his bone, and he was back there to do 20 push-ups. And unfortunately, he couldn't get through, and he had to take a year off. But he never stopped. And the time he came back, whenever he used to come back, he used to race amazing because he was fit enough. And in previous times also, I've seen people who weren't fit, they haven't been able to come back soon. And I mean, very live examples that we see every year is that the moment the kids, come to 10th or 12th, second PU, where they stop swimming, the parents put them into tuitions, and then they try to come back, but nothing happens because they're not fit. The whole year they've been sitting and just studying, doing extra classes and everything. They haven't been fit enough. If they would have been fit enough, I think they would have come back a lot, faster. So yeah, so injury doesn't matter, as long as you keep yourself fit and keep working towards your goal. That's it.
Hello. Hello, sir.
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts on sports being pursued as a business, like money?
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of companies. I was part of one company called Gamatics, which used to, try and cater to all the athletes' needs via getting, cheap equipments, good quality equipments, and everything, which is quite doing quite well. There are a lot of companies. Yeah, sports nutrition companies, the protein shakes, yoga bars, all these are nothing but businesses, and they have been doing really well. And personal trainers, take more money than the coaches. I think it's about they do 3 sessions a week for an hour for the kid, and they charge about 8,000, 10,000 per month. So huge money, and you can do a lot of based on that you can open a gym. As a business, there are a lot of options. Each and every single field that I have mentioned is also nothing but a business. You can open a nutrition clinic, you can open a sports physiotherapy clinic, you can open a psychology clinic, or you can open a company which maybe like a tractor or something which can cater to only sports needs. Identify sports doctors and everything. Like today, I am based out of Whitefield, so it's very hard for me to find a right physiotherapist for my students in Whitefield because I am not finding a lot of sports specialists. So maybe that can be an option. So yeah, you can do business in every single aspect.
Excuse me, sir. So, recently, Ronaldo made a statement that while leaving Manu, that it's all about a business, it's all about money and all. I mean, like in that perspective, how you think, about your thoughts and all.
Okay. Yeah. See, you need money for everything. Like I said, you can't keep going through losses, right? But the ultimate thing is that don't make it so much about business, about money that people lose hope on you, or like someone like Ronaldo struggle. It's very hard to watch. Any great sports person struggling is very hard to watch because of reasons external to him. Not about completely about his training or performance. Something externally is affecting him is not acceptable. But yeah, that's the way it is. But I would say, do a business which helps the sport. You make your profit, but which helps the sport as well. But when you get into things like this, big clubs, big things, yeah, money always comes first for them.
Hello, yeah. So I just had one question. So did you face any politics as such when you were, pursuing a field? Like maybe you're doing everything you can, but there were just blocks, like because not from your end, but like politics in the sports as such, which is not letting you perform. And how did you overcome that if you
Yeah.
did face it?
Yeah, politics is everywhere. Luckily, swimming has less because it's all about performance. I mean, any individual sport, time-based sport, especially, will have very less politics because it's clear cut. Your timing speaks. I mean, there can't be anything done with that. But yeah, there have always been politics involved. Any sports, anywhere you go, there will be politics involved. You know, let's say selecting the team for the let's say a national camp. It's not a final selection of the team, but let's say all of a sudden they'll decide we'll take top 10 world rank only. And then they change rules based on that. And very recently, I can say, like, we used to always do top 6 Asian rankings, but all of a sudden they said, no, we'll not do top 6 anymore, we'll do top 3 only. We'll only select those kids, those swimmers for the camp and send them to tournaments in the future. And yeah, something like that happens. And of course, like I mentioned, the federation being suspended. Luckily, this time the federation is being suspended only from the government funding part, not to send the entries outside and all. But we have had that issue where we're going through major tournaments and the federation is being suspended. They're not allowed to send the teams outside. They're not allowed to conduct any domestic competitions. They're not allowed to do anything, raise funds, nothing. Banks, the bank accounts have been frozen and everything. So I've had to swim. I'm not going to compare as a refugee athlete, but I've been, they compete under the banner of IOC, in the International Olympic Committee, or IPC. So I've had to swim under, IPC. It's International Paralympic Athlete. So I won't represent my country for 1 year, 1.5 years because of this. So that is a huge challenge because some internal politics. It's not too much. It was just some internal guys who wanted to have the big post, and they put case against each other, and yeah, because of some reason. So yeah, these are the challenges, but I was lucky enough to compete because I was one of the top athletes. But all the athletes who were just coming up, they were affected a lot because we weren't given scholarships because the federation was suspended, and everybody used to raise the question like, how can you be selected? So we can't give you the scholarship. We can't give you medal, the cash prizes for the medals you have won because your federation is being suspended. So yeah, these are the challenges we have faced. But yeah, other sports have been under huge political influence. That's it. Okay. Thank you so much. Thanks. Thanks.
A great leader is the one who shows the way, goes the way, and leads the way. Mr. Sharath has shown us the path to a successful career in sports and is leading hundreds of students in their careers as swimmers. Here we present you a token of our love, sir, a memento, requesting Mr. Naveen Kumar, sir, Faculty, Department of Physical Education, to felicitate, sir. Thank you, sir. That brings the proceedings of today to a close. We are extremely grateful for our speaker enlightening the way to increase our knowledge. Thank you everyone who contributed to the seamless operation of the event, including the teachers, management, and the volunteers. Thank you all for being such a great audience. We hope each one of you present here takes home a new slice of learning for your future endeavors and that you're one step closer to understanding your paths better. Live the truth, express your love, share your enthusiasm, take action towards your dreams. Walk your talk, embrace your blessing, make today worth remembering. Thank you.